Fame, scandal, and tragedy. Few stories in the world of music are as shocking, as haunting, or as deeply unsettling as that of Ian Watkins. His journey from the heights of rock stardom to the depths of infamy is a tale that continues to reverberate through the music industry and beyond. Watkins' rise was meteoric, fueled by raw talent, charisma, and a band that seemed destined for greatness. But his fall was catastrophic, marked by unspeakable crimes and a legacy forever stained. Ultimately, his end was as tragic as it was violent, closing the final chapter on a life that once held so much promise. Ian Watkins, once the magnetic frontman of the Welsh rock band Lostprophets, died at the age of 48 after a brutal and fatal attack inside HMP Wakefield. This high-security prison, often referred to as the Monster Mansion, is infamous for housing some of the UK's most dangerous and notorious inmates. For Watkins, it became both a prison and ultimately the place of his violent demise. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the public, reigniting old wounds and sparking new debates about justice, punishment, and the nature of evil. Before his crimes came to light, Watkins was celebrated for his electrifying stage presence and the anthems that defined a generation. Lostprophets, formed in Pontypridd, Wales in 1997, quickly rose to fame with hits like Last Train Home, Rooftops, and Shinobi vs. Dragon Ninja. Their music was a staple on radio stations and festival stages, and their albums sold millions worldwide. For many fans, Lostprophets represented the energy and rebellion of youth, and Watkins was the face of that movement, charismatic, enigmatic, and seemingly unstoppable. But in 2013, the world learned of the horrific double life he had been leading. Watkins was convicted of a series of appalling child sex offenses, including the attempted rape of a baby, possession and creation of indecent images, and the abuse of his position to manipulate and exploit vulnerable fans. The details of his crimes were so shocking that they sent ripples of disbelief and horror, not just through the music world, but through society at large. The trial was widely covered in the media, with headlines that seemed almost too terrible to be true. Watkins was sentenced to 29 years in prison, with an additional 6 years on license, marking one of the most disgraceful and public downfalls in music history. The band immediately disbanded, and their music was pulled from shelves and streaming services, leaving fans grappling with the loss of both a beloved band and their faith in its frontman. Life behind bars was anything but safe for Watkins. As a high-profile sex offender and one whose crimes involved children, he was a marked man from the moment he entered the prison system. The environment inside HMP Wakefield was tense, with danger lurking around every corner. Inmates who commit crimes against children are often considered the lowest of the low in the prison hierarchy, and Watkins' celebrity status only made him a bigger target. He was placed under constant surveillance, and authorities took extra precautions to protect him, but the threat of violence was always present. The psychological toll of living under such conditions is immense, and Watkins reportedly struggled to adapt to the harsh realities of prison life. He was isolated from the general population for his own safety, but even solitary confinement could not shield him from the animosity of other inmates or the weight of his own actions. In 2023, Watkins's precarious existence behind bars took a dramatic turn when he was hospitalized after being taken hostage by fellow inmates. The incident was a chilling reminder of the constant threats he faced and the volatile environment in which he lived. Reports indicated that Watkins was held at knife point for several hours, suffering injuries before being rescued by prison staff. The attack underscored the reality that, for someone with his notoriety and the nature of his crimes, there was no true safety within prison walls. Even before this, in 2019, Watkins was caught with a smuggled mobile phone, which he allegedly used to contact fans and attempt to manipulate others from behind bars. The discovery of the phone led to further scrutiny of his incarceration and raised serious questions about the effectiveness of prison security. Authorities were alarmed by the possibility that Watkins could continue to exert influence and cause harm even while imprisoned. These incidents only heightened the sense of unease surrounding his presence in the prison system and the risks he posed to both inmates and the public. In the rigid and unforgiving hierarchy of prison life, child sex offenders are often the most reviled. For Watkins, his celebrity status made him an even bigger target. He was not just another inmate, he was a symbol of betrayal and depravity, and many saw his presence as an affront to the prison community. Authorities acknowledged that his notoriety put him in constant jeopardy, requiring extra security measures that sometimes failed to protect him. Despite efforts to keep him safe, including isolation and frequent transfers, the threat of violence was ever present. Prison staff faced the difficult task of balancing the need for security with the realities of managing a high-profile, high-risk inmate. The situation was further complicated by Watkins' own behavior, which at times was described as manipulative and defiant. He reportedly struggled with the loss of his former life and the overwhelming hatred directed at him by both inmates and staff. The psychological strain of living under such conditions cannot be overstated, and it is likely that Watkins' mental health deteriorated over time. On October 11, 2025, the simmering tensions inside HMP Wakefield finally erupted into violence. Watkins was fatally stabbed in a shocking attack that left the prison community reeling. Details of the incident remain under investigation, but initial reports suggest that Watkins was targeted by a group of inmates who had long harbored animosity toward him. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving little chance for intervention. For many, the news of his death was met with a mix of shock, relief, and grim satisfaction. The incident underscored the brutal reality of life for infamous inmates in the UK's toughest prisons, where justice is often meted out by those who feel the system has failed. Despite the rapid response of emergency medical teams, Watkins was pronounced dead at the scene. The prison immediately went into lockdown as authorities scrambled to secure the facility and begin their investigation into the circumstances of his death. The atmosphere inside HMP Wakefield was tense, with staff and inmates alike on edge in the aftermath of the attack. For the prison system, Watkins' death represented a failure of security and a stark reminder of the dangers faced by high-profile inmates. For the public, it was a dramatic and violent end to a story that had already been marked by so much pain and betrayal. Police are now investigating the fatal attack, interviewing staff and inmates to piece together what happened in those final moments. The case has reignited discussions about the safety of high-profile prisoners and the challenges faced by correctional officers in managing such volatile environments. Questions are being asked about whether enough was done to protect Watkins and whether the prison system is equipped to handle inmates whose notoriety makes them targets. The investigation is ongoing, with authorities promising a thorough review of security protocols and procedures. Meanwhile, the story has captured the attention of the media and the public, with many speculating about the motives behind the attack and the broader implications for the prison system. Watkins's death has sparked fierce debates online and in the media. Some argue that his crimes were so heinous that he deserved no mercy, while others struggle with the question of whether it's possible or even right to separate the art from the artist. The Lostprophets' music, once a source of joy and inspiration for millions, is now forever tainted by the actions of its lead singer. Fans are left grappling with a complex legacy, torn between their memories of the music and the reality of Watkins' crimes. The debate extends beyond the music world, touching on broader issues of justice, redemption, and the capacity for forgiveness. Some believe that Watkins' death is a form of poetic justice, while others see it as a failure of the prison system and a troubling example of vigilante violence. The conversation is further complicated by the impact on the other members of Lostprophets, who have been forced to rebuild their lives and careers in the shadow of Watkins' actions. For many, the question remains, can we ever truly separate the art from the artist, or are they forever intertwined? Today, Ian Watkins' legacy is a complex and painful one. His musical achievements, once celebrated, are now overshadowed by his shocking crimes. The story of his rise and fall serves as a cautionary tale about fame, trust, and the darkness that can sometimes hide behind the spotlight. The impact of his actions continues to ripple through the music industry and society at large, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about the people we idolize and the power they wield. For the victims of his crimes, the pain is ongoing, and the scars may never fully heal. For fans, the loss is twofold: the loss of a beloved band and the loss of innocence that comes with the realization that heroes can fall so far. The music of Lostprophets, once a source of pride and connection, is now a reminder of betrayal and tragedy. Yet for some, the songs still hold meaning, raising difficult questions about the nature of art, memory, and forgiveness. So, what do you think? Should an artist's work outlive their worst deeds, or should their legacy be erased by their crimes? Is it possible to appreciate the art while condemning the artist, or does the darkness of their actions forever overshadow their creations? These are questions with no easy answers, and ones that continue to divide fans, critics, and society as a whole. The story of Ian Watkins forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that talent and evil can coexist, and that the line between hero and villain is often thinner than we'd like to believe. As we reflect on his life and legacy, we are left to grapple with the complexities of human nature, the power of music, and the enduring impact of betrayal. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about the legacy of Ian Watkins and Lostprophets? Can you still listen to their music, or has it been forever changed for you? We want to hear your stories and your perspectives. And don't forget to subscribe for more true crime insights and deep dives into the stories that shape our world. Your voice matters, and together we can continue to explore the questions that challenge and define us.